I fell in love with the game because prior to that I was very interested in checkers, but I became quite good playing with my relatives and friends, and nobody wanted to play with me anymore.
Did you have some idols, we say it in Russian, kumir?
I was not so much a fan of Kramnik, but I was more of a fan of Kasparov, and he would be like, okay, I don't have a move. It's my favorite thing, just to have challenge and try to overcome it and try to learn from it. I know that I am one of the best in history.
Hello and welcome to FIDE Grand Prix 2022 in Berlin. I'm Women Grandmaster Dina Belenkaya, and today I have a privilege to have Grandmaster Levon Aronian here with us. Levon, hello and thank you for joining us.
The pleasure is all mine.
Levon, let us start with the very early life of yours. How did your chess journey begin?
I was 8.5, almost turning 9. We were visiting my grandparents in Belarus, and my sister decided to teach me to play chess. She's 6.5 years older than me, and there I fell in love with the game because prior to that I was very interested in checkers, but I became quite good playing with my relatives and friends, and nobody wanted to play with me anymore. And then my sister told me to play checkers, and I asked my parents to take me to a section, so in a house of pioneers in Yerevan, in the neighborhood where I grew up, and that's where my journey started. So I learned to play the moves. I realized that I'm not the best player ever because some other kids are stronger than me, so all these steps.
What was the most important to you, your first achievement?
Well, just a chance to travel abroad was also very unique. This is 1992, and the Soviet Union collapsed, and we had the World Championship in Duisburg in Germany, and I qualified there by becoming Armenian champion. And from Soviet collapsing country, Soviet Union torn apart by we had the devastating earthquake in '88, and then we had the ongoing war. So to go in a Western country and see that people are living a good life, that was very unique. So this was I would say my first achievement, just that justified my interest in chess.
Was that the moment when you kind of felt that you should have been following, or you should be following this path for a long run?
It's not that I really had like a big of a choice, because when I was growing up, my father is a scientist and my mother is an engineer. But the country was collapsing, so their salaries became very little. So it made no sense for them to continue working, and there was not much work. All the factories and everything was being privatized, and everything that was valuable was getting sold as as scrap, basically. And then at that moment, my parents knew that I have a talent for chess, so they kind of said, all right, maybe you should dedicate more time on chess, and they made a very brave decision. They pulled me out of the school so I could totally focus on chess.
And your mother was supporting more than your father, right?
I think that's true. My father does like chess, but the problem as a scientist, he's not so much into any sports. My father doesn't like any competition. For him, we occasionally play Scrabble at home. We love it. And then my father would spend 4 minutes thinking on a move, I will say, okay, that time to play. And he would be like, okay, I don't have a move. So he doesn't have this practical character for any competition. He's more of a scientist who's looking for things deeply. And therefore, and my mom, she was an engineer, a demolition expert, and this was a very rare job for women. And all her life she had to compete with men. So she has this great fighting spirit in her. So she has to fight and prove that she's better. So it's a good combination, I think, that I've got that from my mother, the fighting spirit, and I've got the research mind from my father.
So it was a good mixture that made you the player you are. You once said in one of your interviews that you are a late bloomer. What was, for you, let's say, the biggest achievement that made you really believe that you had a bright chess future in front of you?
I did have a lot of good tournaments, winning World Junior and things like this. The reason why I call myself a late bloomer, because at some point, I did have some sponsorship from the start of my career. But then at some point, I was about 16. I slowly became a grandmaster. I was playing well, but I wasn't really anywhere near top 100. And therefore, the sponsor slowly thought, okay, maybe he doesn't have that talent in him. And the biggest kind of achievement that I had that made me believe that I'm going to be, in chess for years to come was World Junior Under 20. It was my last World Junior. It was in Goa, and I managed to win it. And back in the day, it was a very tough tournament. A lot of good players were playing, and you would also get one chance to play a good tournament after winning that. They would give this privilege to the World Junior Champion. So I've won that, and then I played a tournament with Polgar, with Karpov, and Ivan Sokolov. They were all very, very good players, so it was already kind of, for me, I was feeling that I have this chance to compete with them. And from that moment on, after I scored 50% and I won against Karpov, I felt that, yes, I'm definitely going to play chess.
Let's say the period of your life when you were not yet a grandmaster, did you have some idols, we say it in Russian, kumir?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have those people who were, let's say, you were cherishing in particular and whom you were inspired of?
Yeah, of course. I was growing up at that time when Kramnik and Kasparov, were playing. They had this competition, a very young guy, and it was very exciting to see that, Karpov and Kasparov competing against each other. But it was more exciting for me personally to see that somebody who's 18, 19 years old is fighting on equal terms with the world champion. So I was not so much a fan of Kramnik, but I was more of a fan of Kasparov and his dynamic and very enterprising style. And also, of course, Alexei Shirov. His games were always full of interesting ideas, tactics, and very interesting, ideas in the middle game. So, and later I started appreciating Ivanchuk more. I think when I was young, his style was much harder for me to understand.
You already said that you usually never have any feeling of anger or whatsoever towards your opponents, but still, were there some particular rivals of yours or some difficult opponents psychologically that later on, growing as a chess player, you managed to overcome?
Yeah, I think I had this big problem against Ivanchuk. I think at some point, I think I won our first encounter, but then I think I lost maybe 9. So it was very difficult. But now I think I'm in a slight plus, maybe +1. So I managed to break this difficult opponent and start playing better against him. So this is important, but I've learned a lot, of course. I think playing against the players that are now about 50, so Ivanchuk and Gelfand, Anand, the guys who played against Kasparov, so Karpov, I think this was a great school. Just generally understanding and seeing how seriously they treat their work.
Do you personally believe in the existence of this thing as having a difficult psychologically opponent?
Yeah, maybe. You know, you have some. Sometimes it's just a clash of styles. So you're playing against somebody, and you more or less know what he's doing, but you just don't manage to fight it. You know, some people are like exceptionally gifted in the opening preparation or in tactics, and then you just somehow it doesn't work for you, you know. And once it doesn't work for you, you start thinking, you know, it's difficult to play against this guy. I don't want to be paired against him. I never had this, but I can explain the situation. But with me, I like the challenge. It's my favorite thing, just, you know, to have challenge and try to overcome it and try to learn from it. So, but I can understand that some people will, you know, shy away from it or just get tired losing against an unpleasant opponent.
Do you think we could call it as one of your biggest strengths?
I think so. Probably the fact that I'm willing to learn, and I believe that I can improve and I can work on my mistakes and overcome them. I think that's definitely my strength.
How was it for your family to take this decision and the whole process, the bureaucracy? Did it take some time and maybe also some energy out of you and your family?
Well, for sure, because it was a long wait, you know, because the papers were being processed and there was always, you know, this feeling that, well, maybe we won't be the ones called because a lot of people applied at that moment. The reason why we applied, well, it was kind of difficult at that time because I was competing with a lot of players in Armenia. I think I was better than them, but I was not making to the team because there was some friendship and all those, you know, typical nepotism you would have in post-Soviet country. And I really needed to break away from that. And my family, well, since I told you from my early age, they were supporting me and really helping me in everything. So they kind of said, yes, we need to move in order for you to finally use your potential and become somebody better. Because at that point, I think when we applied, I was about 16, and I was very talented, but I didn't have too many tournaments, because traveling from Armenia was very expensive, and having good coaches was very expensive. So I was just playing blitz all the time. And of course, it's a good tool to stay in shape, but if you want to improve, you need to have coaches, I think, at that age.
How important it was for you to go back to Armenia and finally become this national leader in a way?
Well, players of my generation, so it was Karen Asrian, it was me, Gabriel Sarkisian, who was my close friend. We always dreamt of one day, leading the country into success. And when the federation has changed, and then they told me that we're getting rid of all this, systems, just federation deciding who plays in the team or who doesn't, and just having objective approach, just purely ELO and result in Armenian Championship. And they asked me to come back. I think because I had this dream, I really wanted to achieve it from childhood. I thought that this is a good opportunity. And I think what we established in Armenia and winning all these tournaments and promoting chess, and what is more important, I think, promoting fairness. Nobody can anymore kind of say, this guy is going to play and because he's our friend. This was, I think, the most important thing with it. And winning 3 Olympiads, yeah, I think I am very proud mostly about those things in my chess career, winning with the team. Because I know I'm a good player. I know that I am one of the best in history. I know that. But to lead the team that is not that strong, to inspire them and to be a good leader, this was new to me, that I could do that. And I still remember all this tournaments and all this chases, us and Russia and China always competing, and it's something that I will always cherish.
You being a national leader, has it been for you more of a blessing or somewhat like a weight on your shoulders, because you have this big responsibility that people are cherishing you, people want to follow you, to learn from you?
No, I think it's always a blessing, and of course we're a country that was always interested in chess, starting with Kasparian and Petrosian and Vaganian, but I think that in the 90s, when we're thinking that Armenia is a poor country and maybe we won't get a chance to succeed in something, I think this was not just merely about chess. This was more a global thing, and to be somebody who managed to inspire people, that it makes me very happy. And I'm very true in everything I do. I believe in truth, and I believe that just as I mentioned, we came to Armenian chess, my generation, with the point to make everything transparent and pure. And I think we achieved that in some other spheres as well. And I'm very happy about that. I think that's a great honor for me to be able to do that.
On another note, who is your favorite player to watch in women's chess?
It's interesting to watch women's chess because there are many ideas that coaches are showing the girls. So sometimes you have a player that is rated about 2,300, but playing all the best ideas possible in the position. So it's very educational. But generally, of course, Hui Fan, I've played against her. She's very good. She's a great fighter. I've played against Judith Polgar, the greatest of all time. In fact, I will even tell you something more. When people tell me, who do you think are the greatest players of the world in history, I always have in my mind the name of Korchnoi and Polgar, because one as a female player and another one for his longevity. I think that's very special, to continuously get up and you're always facing people who are doubting you, and then you come, you work, and you continue your work, continue improving. So I think that's very special about Korchnoi, and Polgar, of course, is incredible to be such a fighter, and not to be, she was never worried or kind of thinking, oh, this is good enough for me. No, she always looks for the best, and I really like that, because that's one problem I see a lot in women's chess. A lot of girls are saying, oh, this is a good result. They're satisfied because they don't see themselves as to be real competitors to men. But I think girls, I always believed in this, and I always said that I believe that girls can play on equal terms with guys, for sure. But they need to work harder, and they need to change the attitude.
Not to be satisfied with small achievements.
And maybe less tournaments for women only, and more mixed tournaments. I think it does some damage when you're continuously playing against people who are satisfied, and are happy, and they are saying, hey, it's okay, this is good enough, this is not good for you.
In a meta world, just imagine, let's say you're someone like president of FIDE. What would be your steps to help women's chess, to change it, maybe promote?
I think more mixed tournaments. I think we should stop making this distinction, women's chess or men's chess, because the best players of the world, you can see, for example, Goryachkina, she's playing with men and she's quite successful. So once we stop promoting this, I'm saying that and accepting the fact that women can play as well as men, then I think there will be new Judith Polgars being born. I believe in that, because I know Judith. I know she's incredibly talented and incredibly hardworking. But I do believe there are other girls that are as hardworking and as talented as her. They just don't have the mindset. And Laszlo Polgar told his daughters, you cannot play with girls. They don't have somebody to tell them that. And that slowly, it changes your style. Because in general, I think there is just a stigma that the girls are more tactical and they want to play for tricks, and they just, all depends on the emotions at that moment. But I do believe that, of course, there are genetics. Of course, women and men are different in many thinking ways. But I do believe that this can also be used as an advantage, the emotional side. So it's just, we need to maybe invest some time and think and do some kind of research about it, because the reason, for example, why the Chinese girls are so good, I think because they only train with men. And that, I think, is a good start.
We all know as chess players that in general the joy of a win, of winning a game, is smaller than the pain of a loss. Would you say that chess is a fulfilling job and that top pro chess players are happy people?
If I'm to approach it through my own eyes, then chess players are extremely happy. Because I believe that one of the most important things in life is appreciating things. Just appreciating every little thing you have. And I know for sure that I would be playing chess if I was never being paid. No, I would be playing tournaments for free, and every time I get paid, I'm very surprised. Because this is something that I do. That it's not that I do it for this reason. No, I just cannot not do it. I have to play chess. I have to live with chess. It's like air for me. Yeah, and so I think it's just a matter of the mindset. If you have a mindset that I want to play and I enjoy it, and this is something I was born for, then you'll be happy.
Just choose the person that you prefer the most. Bach or Beethoven?
Bach.
John Coltrane or Stan Getz?
John Coltrane.
Karpov or Kasparov? And I think I know the answer.
Kasparov.
Yeah, I was sure. Kevin Durant or LeBron James?
LeBron James.
What are the 3 reasons to come over and visit St. Louis for you?
To see the chess city, because everything in St. Louis is about chess. You have a whole street that has the chess club, the chess museum, the chess houses of different players that stay there. And so that's one reason, chess. Second reason, to see some of the most beautiful houses in America, I think. Where, there are many old houses and in English style, so they're very beautiful. And the third reason, I think there are lots of history in the town. You have the 3 very long rivers crossing, so there's lots of culture that is before the time of white people came there, old Native American culture, and you also have a lot of blues and jazz culture.
On a scale from 1 to 10, where would you put Armenian cuisine and where would you put American cuisine?
I think Armenian cuisine for me would be definitely 9 out of 10. And American cuisine, I would say 8 out of 10.
Levon, I appreciate you taking time to talk to us. Thank you so much. It has been a big honor for me, and I hope that we will meet again on the second stage of Berlin.
Yes, absolutely. Looking forward to coming back. I'm looking forward to hugging Ponchik.
Lots of luck for the second stage.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.